There was a time where every single game available was hard as nails. Back in the day, they were mostly only available to play on arcade machines. So for every time you wanted to play, you had to put in a coin to get back in the action. Obviously, it didn't stay that way. Nowadays, we have home consoles, PCs, and even phones that are all able to play high-fidelity games that keep improving graphically to ridiculous levels. But why am I telling you this? Well, throughout the years, the approach to game design has changed drastically. Back in the arcade days, games were so hard not because they had to, but because that's how they made the most amount of money. If you could breeze through the game and see everything in one run, then you wouldn't spend all this money to play again. With the transition to home consoles, that changed to a more casual approach. A lot of games these days try to appeal to a broad audience to make more money and get more sales. This has been the case for a long time now, so we're used to the current ways of how games are being made. And yet there are a lot of discussions about difficulty in games. The franchise that has probably sparked it the most is obviously the Souls franchise. With its high difficulty, there are always people saying that it needs an easy mode, while others say that it should stay true to its original idea. But what people tend to miss is that the Souls franchise has always had a quote-unquote easier mode. Being able to summon NPCs or even players to help with difficult areas or bosses has always been part of the experience and made things easier to handle. Honestly, games these days are doing a great job with difficulty and giving you options, with titles like Dishonored 2 allowing you a lot of customization when it comes to your difficulty, or even an example that we already talked about like the Souls franchise, which does not allow these options but does have systems in place to keep frustration low. So if that's the case, then what's the problem? If we Google gatekeeping, the definition presented to us is the following: the activity of controlling and usually limiting general access to something. In gaming, this is very prevalent in a couple of areas, mainly difficulty, playstyle, input method, or platform. Let's stick with difficulty for now, as we've already talked about it a bit, and we can cover these other topics another time. The easy mode in games has always been frowned upon. If you play anything less than normal, there will be people that are very vocal about it. If you're not a streamer, then you won't really feel the impact of it unless friends mention it. But there are players out there who choose higher difficulties that aren't a great fit for them or the time schedule, just because easier modes do have the stigma attached to them. I recently stumbled upon this Reddit post by user Individual Twist 768, who talked about enjoying the easy mode much more than he did a couple of years ago. And I see myself in the same boat nowadays. I've always tried to prove something, whether that was for my own enjoyment or because of the already mentioned stigma of the easier mode is difficult to say and depends on the game. But I certainly bashed my head against many walls trying to beat games on their hardest difficulty when I didn't enjoy it. The best example is a game that I started playing recently again, The Witcher 2. I'm not kidding you, I have roughly 36 hours in that game and never left Flotsam for that exact reason. Only this time I had enough of it and started playing it on easy. There's nothing difficult in that game anymore. Sure, my health regenerates and the enemies die very quickly, but I'm having a blast because I don't play the game for the gameplay. I play it because I want to experience a story the way I want to, and the easy mode allows me to do exactly that with no roadblocks, and I'll finally finish it. As a stark contrast, I love playing the sequel, The Witcher 3, on its hardest difficulty, since the gameplay is much more refined and creates a pleasant experience for me personally. Others may choose to play on a different difficulty, and that's totally fine. That's why we have these options. Other players don't have a problem with this at all and choose whatever fits them best, which is honestly the perfect way of going about it. I mean, if difficult only means that you must mash more buttons because the enemy has more health than usual, is that really that great? Streamers experience games very differently, since their every move is being recorded, broadcasted, and shown live to an audience that can actively interact with them through chat. If they would decide to play a game on easy or play a sorcerer build in the Souls games, hell will break loose. And that can diminish their experience by a lot, especially because they constantly must entertain an audience. They can't always go for what's the most fun build or playstyle for them personally. They will most likely prioritize whatever's more fun and engaging to watch. And because everybody plays games differently, that usually leads to a lot of backseat gaming. And believe me, there's a lot of that going on. But that's potentially a topic for next week's video. Subscribe, by the way. At the end of the day, we should all choose to play our games the way we want to and enjoy them the most. No matter if you're a spell-wielding Dark Souls player or shoot aliens in Halo Infinite's easy mode, make your own decision and try out what's right for you. Back in the day, Mass Effect 3 released with a very easy story mode, and back then I made fun of it. But what if people want to play that way and just don't care about the gameplay like I do with The Witcher 2? What's wrong about that? We may feel differently and wouldn't play that way, but that doesn't make it false or not worth enjoying. Play your own way and enjoy your video games. There's so many stories out there. Pick your poison and work on your pile of shame. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys next week.